Okay,
Cool.
great. So hi and welcome. Today we are with the New Earth Online and we are featuring one of our creators. Her name is Joyce and we are in her studio right now. She's in her studio and we get to be a part of that. And Joyce, it caught my eye initially because she makes these amazing crowns, these crystal crowns. And the piece that you're wearing, I'm sure you made as well.
My dragons.
Dragons. Yeah, is there a dragon face in there in the bottom?
There sure is. And gorgeous. Nice. They're nice, really nice pieces. Very popular.
Wonderful. So today I wanted to introduce you to people. I wanted to showcase some of the crowns because they're just jaw-dropping. And if somebody needs a piece like that for either a fancy event that they're going to, a festival, if they're a bride, or if they're somebody who, your crowns are they're unique, each of them, and then you can customize them on top of that. So how did you get into this kind of crafting, Joyce?
So jewelry making, it's been about 10, 12 years. I started feebly about 20 years ago, and then about 8 years I started doing it and selling it at markets. And then 2 years ago, there was no crowns anywhere. I started with chain headpieces and circlets, they're called. Yeah, and I was kind of bored with it. And then I thought, why not make a crystal crown? So my first crown took over 12 hours to make.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And with the cost of materials and what I sold it for, it just wasn't worth it. So it was an amazing experience. And every time I made another one, the time went down further. So now I've got it down to about 3 to 4 hours per crown now, depending on what kind you choose.
Yeah.
As a custom piece. And I love crystals. I love working with them. I love the energy of them. I love that someone can come to me and say, I want something that will put me in touch with the angels or give me clarity or protect me. And then I have to figure out what they need and put together and give them some guidelines with style. Um, and support local, which is great when the prices are right, so that you can give that back to the people who want those crowns, right?
Yeah.
So ideas come from, I might see something when I'm walking through a store, like a piece of jewelry, and I'm like, oh, I like that, but only that middle piece. And I have been known to buy them, rip them apart for one little piece, which is not cost productive, but you know what? It's great for an amazing, unique piece. And yes, every single piece is and more orders come in for those because of that market. It's amazing the kind of people that we get to talk to and being able to give everybody a very unique piece of jewelry that's
I to-
it's 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 a whole process that can take, you know, a week to do, or it can take months to do, because I have piles of things sitting all over my desk. And one day you'll just pick up 5, 10 pieces, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is what you have to be. So yeah, it's an amazing process to come up with the ideas. The only issue I have is when people say, oh, I want exactly that one. And it's like, well, I can't do that because I promised my customers that they get a unique piece every time.
right. If you want
Um,
exactly that one, then they've got to get that one, not a different one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So here's a beautiful crystal headpiece made with agerine,
Wow.
and it's got clear crystals in between. So this one's for getting in touch with the dreams and the crystals. I always like to throw them in there to cleanse the the other crystals that are on the crowns. And I love, my branches are a trademark of mine, and it's just a beautiful piece. Again, aderine's very hard to come by, and there's only one vendor in middle of central Alberta that actually sells it, and I got a bunch from him, and I was thrilled. Another big seller is beautiful dragons. So that's our gorgeous dragon headpiece. There is one on Neomai on the online store. It's not him because the other piece sold. So, but we always leave them up as an example to see what you can get.
Yeah.
The other kind I like making is an elf style with a lot of branches, and I love all the natural crystals. This one is amethyst. It's just such a pretty little piece. Brides love them. Pagans love them. I love them.
I love them. They're so great.
And then this one's made of like sapphires. It's called glass-filled sapphire. And then just different things like
yeah, and each of them's unique because you promised to make them all unique, and because it's creative process. You know, it's interesting. People sometimes ask me, like, how do you go about doing or making this, or like how can you be creative, like where do the ideas come from? It's like, well, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
Again, like I said before, ideas can come from something while you're browsing online. You'll see something and, oh, I like that, but I don't like this about it. So then I have to figure out how to make that piece or find things similar to it, because a lot of times people will send me a picture of something. It's like, I cannot copy anybody's work. You have to understand that, but I can make you something similar to it. When I get a new batch of crystals, I'm working on a whole bunch here, which I've just, some Crazy and black agate and beautiful hot pink carnelian, which isn't a crown yet, but it's going to be probably next week or the week after. But it's just fabulous stuff, you know, like these that just, they sit on my desk and one day they become a crown. They're just, it depends what.
Tap, tap,
for
tap.
me.
It's like the crystals are just like tap, tap, tap. Joyce, it's my turn today.
This was actually made for a customer who asked for a seraphonite crown, and I actually found them at a store in Calgary that we all know, and turned it into a crown. So I'm hoping I'll see her at one of my.
Yeah.
Where I started this piece 2 months ago, but it's like, well, I don't like where it's going, so it's going to sit on my desk for a while until I figure out what's going to make it better. Right. So creative process is crazy sometimes, where I can be stumped for weeks at a time and not be able to put, you know, thoughts in my head, and then some night I'll have a dream about something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what you're meant to be. So it's definitely a process to assemble them, and it's time consuming. It's a passion for sure. It's a journey, and handling the crystals, you have to make sure you're in the right frame of mind, because crystals have energy just like, you know, we do, and we don't want to imprint that energy on them. Mm-hmm. It's a fascinating journey in making them, and I love it. Since I started making them, it's incredible. But you know, just, I don't know, and always looking for more things to create new pieces and new ideas, and, you know, medieval market type stuff. I mean, it's like, you find these things sometimes online. It's like, well, that's nice, but you know what? It needs some real crystals on it, and it needs to be painted, or it needs this, or it needs that, or, you know, like hand painted pieces and blended in colors. And
that's so good.
I love doing, you know, that custom work, and that because I blend my own paints, it's really hard to duplicate a color. Yeah, because you don't keep a pot of it, you just blend it as you're doing it, and it's an amazing thing to do. Yeah.
Wow.
As you see, I have tons of supplies everywhere.
I love it. I love it.
To my desk.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, you've got one sort of like in progress there up on a hand.
Yeah, it's kind of hanging there drying right now. It's kind of the female version to the medieval market one.
Okay. Good process.
Got beautiful green onyx on it, teardrops.
Yeah.
I kind of see it as being more of a feminine piece, actually. Yeah, the hands are for some slave bracelets that I'm working on that I need for the market this weekend. Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, so you've been doing jewelry for a long time, like 20 years, you said.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, are there like how did you initially get into it? Like, was there something that sparked? Was there like how did you initially start that?
Okay. Back in, think about 2001, 2002, we made a trip to Shiloh, Manitoba. We went off to a gravel pit. I've always collected agates since I was 5 years old. I've got my little collection of agates that, because we lived in BC for a period of time, you can find agates everywhere.
Yeah.
But we went to Shiloh and we went to a store and they had some jewelry making supplies. So I bought a few bits and pieces to make earrings and I got bored with that very quickly. So I set it aside. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, I bought a bracelet. I have to buy one of these. Can I buy this from you? And I sold them all that weekend to my friends at the cabin. And from there, um, from stringing bracelets, and then I branched out into, feature necklaces. And then, like I said, 2 years ago, it's like nobody made crowns. So I was like, take a stab at it, just do it. And, I made 5 crowns and I've had, orders every now and again for them at every market. Like people see them and they're just so enamored with them. And we encourage people to try them on and take selfies with them. And you know what? Just don't cost anything. Go ahead, try it on. Be a princess, be a goddess. I believe that everybody should have such. And you're back.
Sorry, I got you at like everybody should get a chance to be a goddess.
Everybody should be, have a chance to put on one of the crowns, be the goddess, bring out the goddess inside, be the princess that they are. Or little kids, we love little kids at markets. We always put the crowns on them and moms take pictures of them and the kids just love it to bits. We have men who love the crowns and love them on, and just a lot of people, it's the energy that they feel from those crowns, from the crystals that are in them. I especially like working with a lot of crystals that are for your intuitiveness. So, your adirine, your kyanites, I like the protection, the black agates, the onyx, for love, rose quartz, and seraphonite for getting in touch with your angels. Like there's so many crystals, and dragon's blood jasper has to be one of my favorite stones, but I have yet to find our beautiful crystal spears to make a beautiful crown. So I will find those someday.
Everybody's watching this and they know where to get that crystal. Let Joyce know.
Exactly. You just never know when you're going to find something, or what little market that you go to, they're going to have something that you need. And I mean, I have nails. What? These suckers look really fabulous in a crown. Nails, yes. These are not the hand forged nails. I have a local company, Hayward's here, that make me hand forged nails. Unfortunately, I'm all out of them right now because I've used them in the last crown that I did. but they hand forge nails for me, and I actually put them in crowns. If you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to grab one of the custom crowns that I just made. It's waiting to go home to the customer.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is a beautiful, these are all hand forged nails. They're forged locally in Gibbons by Hayward's. These are beautiful Lumerian crystals, roses, clear crystals.
Wow.
And this was custom ordered by a bride for her husband.
Uh-huh. Sorry, we dropped out there. So it was custom ordered for a bride, by a bride for her husband? 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yay, you're back!
My apologies. I dropped up there.
You must be in a bad reception area or something. That's actually a good idea.
Here we go.
I don't know what you got last.
I got the crown, and you were going to say that it was a bride got it for her, and then we stopped.
Okay, so you'll cut the video and blah. Anyway, okay, so this crystal crown was ordered by a bride for her husband to be. They're pagans. They're fabulous people. She's an amazing tattoo artist. She will wear the rose quartz piece that I made for her, and her husband will wear this one. And with the beautiful hand-forged local nails, it's just amazing. Like, you never know what I'm going to put into a crown. It just depends what I see when I see it. And I like that I can use local things to make them different and unique.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool. There's so many different versions. I remember one of the things that I was really impressed with when I first saw your store was there's this versatility. There's everything from like pixie fairy on one end to like raven skulls on the other end. I put those at opposite ends of the spectrum. Maybe not everybody. You clearly don't. For you, they're all part of your spectrum. They're all just like ways of expressing self through jewelry.
Yeah. I've got some beautiful.
Yeah.
Owls. I love names. Owls are very wise. It could be somebody's spirit animal. I love them. We used to have one that would, hoot all night here, and he's gone now. So it's kind of miss him a little bit, but yeah, ravens. I have pieces that aren't quite finished that are, speaking of ravens,
chest in that room.
There's lots of stuff. Anyway, there's one of the raven pieces, but it's not done. It still needs, chains, and I'm just not sure what kind of eyes he's going to have.
Right.
I had a lady in Calgary ask me to do a phoenix. So you can hardly see it, but he's right there.
Oh, yeah.
And then he will be all the colors of fire.
Wow.
I just haven't figured out what I'm going to do with him yet. But it was a customer that said, wouldn't it be really cool if you could do this? And I'm like, I'll start looking for stuff. And I found this one. So it's not perfect, but it'll be nice once it's done. But yeah, a lot of customers give me ideas as well, going, can you do this? And then I make it, and sometimes they come back, and sometimes it goes home with someone else. So it just depends, right? But yeah, I make basic bracelets. I make, beautiful featured necklaces, and I've got a lot of my pieces on my desk because we've got a market this weekend.
Yeah, and you have several markets that you do. So you did the New Earth Expo when those come around in Calgary and Red Deer and Edmonton and Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And then you were at the Crystal Cauldron this spring and the Medieval Market.
You betcha.
Are there other markets that you do on a regular basis?
The original Witches Market I do on a regular basis here in Edmonton. I have done the Witchery in Edmonton as well. not a lot of the smaller local markets. Or even doing too many big markets at one time. What happens is I sell out and then I'm scrambling to make things, and I feel that, the quality is going to suffer if I have to rush and make stuff. So RPG is a great one. We're just doing that one this weekend. But my passion is really with the New Earth expos. Gail and Kaylin, who run them, are amazing, and we always feel comfortable there and warm, and everybody that's there is like a family, and you can't get a better market than that, really, where everybody's so warm and welcoming. Yeah. I do a lot of lockets too, with gathering wildflowers. I like to put them in lockets and seal them forever. I've actually had a customer request Indian paintbrush. So while driving back from Grand Prairie, I actually spotted them on the side of the road, but I couldn't stop. So on the way back, I'm like, oh, I got to watch for these. And I actually found them again. Wow. And I've got a whole bunch of them hanging in here drying, and I've got some pressed and drying. So I'll be able to give that customer what she wanted, which is nice. So it's interesting what some people will ask for, actually.
Wow. It seems like you really go the extra, you're just gonna I'm gonna look for those flowers, I'm gonna find them, I'm gonna press them, I'm gonna prepare them, and then I'm gonna put them in a necklace.
Yeah, absolutely. Above and beyond. That's what you've got to, I'm passionate about what I do, but I love it when I get a challenge too, because it can take me a year to find what you need or to create what you need, but I will eventually get it done.
Yeah.
Right now, somebody wants a ring with crystals on it, but I've found a style of ring that I could put it on, but it's too flimsy because it's sterling silver. So I've got to think on it. So I've been kind of thinking on that for about a year, but it's not lost on me yet. And I will figure something out eventually.
Yeah.
Some things take time.
Yeah. Well, and I find that the artistic mind is often a little bit more in the flow.
Yes.
So to push an artistic mind to be like, you have to do this now.
Yeah, that's when it goes, nope, you're done.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it can take a long time to do things. Like I said, I can have stuff sitting on my desk for months at a time before it becomes what it needs to be.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of being pressured to make all this stuff very rush. I need to have time. Yeah. And I added cloaks to my repertoire in January, and my husband and I went one weekend and we rounded up all the wool fabric and all the colors you can imagine, and now I've got it stacked here, but now I've got a whole bunch of sewing to do so that I have cloaks ready for Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And still keep all my crystal crowns on the go too. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I find you mentioned enjoying the challenge, and I think that people who are excited about doing their own business, creating their own thing, doing things their own way, and creating something from new, that takes a certain kind of personality, often a creative type, and it takes a certain amount of balance to get everything moving and to keep it in flow, in a good flow. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
working a full-time job during the day and then coming home at night, you quickly gobble down some food and then you go into your room and you start being creative again. Yeah. And I think when it becomes not fun to me anymore, I'll have to stop. For now, this is still my sanctuary. I'm surrounded with so many crystals you can't even imagine. There's so many crystals and things in here. It's the energy in here is incredible. Yeah. And the creativity, I've been creative since I was 5. I mean, I learned to sew on an old treadle machine, making Barbie doll clothes, and my whole life I've been creative. So finding the jewelry as the creative outlet, in particular the crowns and the feature necklaces and things, has just been amazing for me, because it gives me that, lets me do what I want to do and create beautiful things for people. Yeah. Things they're not going to find anywhere else, which I absolutely love. Which is why I love keeping things unique. I've done it and if I happen to find something on my table that's not unique, it gets ripped apart and repurposed. Yeah. The crown's never identical, never. It's really hard for me to actually duplicate something, so copying things is a big no-no. I don't know, I love the, the creative flow, the ability to make all these amazing things that, people look at and they're like, oh, wow, how did you do this? It's an interesting job to have. And someday I hope to retire and do this all the time.
Mm,
Soon, I hope.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that it's one of my passions, I know, is helping people do what they love to do, create more abundance and more flow for themselves through that. So it's been really great to
Yes.
have this conversation and to get to share what you're doing with more people so that you can do more of what you're passionate about. And people who love great jewelry and love, that feature, and they want to really stand out, they want to know that what they're wearing and what they've got like really reflects their style, is a really amazing place.
Yes.
Great conference. Yeah. So if people want to get a hold of you, they can do that through the New Earth Online.
Absolutely.
And then you also have, I think, a Facebook page. And
Yeah.
people can contact you there. So I'll link to those in the video. When we post this live, we'll have them linked up there. And
Okay.
we'll be able to connect with you that way if they're interested in getting a custom piece made, or if they're interested in looking at what you have, then you can check those out on the New Earth Online.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's super good. Well, thank you so much, Joyce. Before we finish, just a quick question of like, if you had a piece of advice that you could share for somebody who's maybe in that like first or second year of starting to make jewelry, somebody who's like, oh, I have an excitement about this, but it's not really, it hasn't gotten to a selling point yet, or they're not necessarily having clients. What would be a piece of advice that you might have for somebody who's in that situation?
Be persistent, be creative. Even if you want to make the same thing over and over and over, there's people that want those things over and over and over. Don't get discouraged. I've made things and people have hated them, and I've ripped them apart and I've repurposed them, and all of a sudden it's something somebody wants. Keep doing what you're doing. As long as you love what you do and you're passionate, it just takes that one little market that you're in that somebody's going to find you and go, oh, wow, this is amazing. Thank you for making these beautiful things. And that day can come soon, or it might take a while. I mean, I've done markets where I've made no money at all. I've made, sold one piece, didn't make my table fees. It doesn't matter. You make connections with people. You talk to people. You hear feedback from people, and you take their ideas that they give you or their feedback, and you use that constructively to make yourself better, to make your products better. If you went back to what I originally made to where I am now, you go, wow. I go, wow. But I do, my bracelets, I still love my bracelets. They're all crystals. I love, it's the process, I guess, that I love, being able to work with them. But definitely keep persistent, keep doing what you love, and eventually it's just going to click for you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it's really, I know for myself in terms of work and in terms of creating, it's just like the creative process, being an artist in the world, like it takes us a huge amount of effort, and it's great that there's passion and creativity behind it, because otherwise, good luck, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you've got that passion, and if something, the work that you're doing is obviously being well received, and so then it's like, keep going, right? Just keep going. And great advice for anybody who might be interested in
Absolutely.
moving from maybe more hobby to more business.
Yeah. Awesome.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Super, super appreciate it. And if anybody who's watching who's felt really inspired, please reach out to Joyce and connect with her to get your next amazing, unique piece.
Thank you, Elena. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
You're welcome. Okay.